us to compete for PSAC title this year. Plain and simple. It's what we talk about every day. It's what we've talked about since we returned to campus. It's what we talked about during the preseason. It's what we talked about in a meeting today. Last year, the goal was to make the conference tournament for the first time in a decade. That's not the goal anymore. The goal is to bring the PSAC title back to Morrow Fieldhouse, the 85-86 women's basketball team here at Slippery Rock. That's the only NCAA Division II PSAC title team in history of the school. It's 30 years ago. 25 years ago, the team won the Atlantic region, made the Elite Eight. It's time to put Slippery Rock back to the top of the pack in the PSAC, and that is what you should expect from us this year, to contend for a PSAC championship.
All right, Slippery Rock loses PSAC West Defensive Player of the Year, Deja Chambers, but still returns a strong core to what made last year's team so respectable. Can you just talk a little bit about the returners?
Tyler, something I mentioned today. I've been in 3 locker rooms in my coaching career where I've walked in the front door and I've looked from locker to locker and thought, man, are we talented? And this is one of those 3 teams. Returning, I don't even know where to begin. We had Audrey Stapleton. When Audrey Stapleton believes in herself as much as the coaching staff does, she's going to be so dangerous. There were different points in the season last year where she was either first or second in the entire Atlantic region in combined field goal percentage and free throw percentage. And I swear to you, every time I see her shoot the basketball, it goes in. Talking about shooters, Shannon Jack, PSAC West Freshman of the Week one time last year. She's one of the best shooters in the conference, hands down. She made Division I visits. We were lucky to get her. She can flat out shoot the basketball. Mallory Heinley has a Division I body, a Division I work ethic, and Division I skill set. Plan on using her more in her natural position on the wing this year, and she is a tough matchup out there. She's long, she's quick off the dribble, she can really stroke it. Started 7 games for us last year. Had some key buckets in huge games for her. She hit a 3-pointer last year against Edinburgh. That was the one key turning point in that game. That 3 that she hit to put us over the top. Hit a key free throw against Seton Hill. Those 3 come to mind right off the bat. Now we get into Megan Hardiman would roll down the steps for us right now if we asked her. That's what we need to do to win tonight. She returns. She's basically going to be a 3-year starter. Had some key buckets for us last year. Works her butt off in practice. Rebecca Olkowski. Last year she sat, she waited and waited and waited, and when she was asked to produce at key times, she hit a big 3-pointer at IUP last year. We were tied with them at the time on the road. Anytime she stepped on the floor, she's produced. She's back. Erica Aiello, going to be a 4-year starter. She's starting to creep into the top 10 in different categories here in assists and steals, and she's going to be a nightmare this year for other teams' point guards, I can tell you right now. I didn't know it was possible to come back in better shape than she was in, but she's in better shape now than she was last year, and she's going to be an absolute nightmare the way we're going to pressure the basketball this year. Soraya Ranger, her ceiling, it's high, and there are days when she does things that's why we brought her here. She's a great defender, great rebounder. She had a couple fantastic games down the stretch last year. We expect big things from her this year. Taylor Siggers will be sorely missed. Would have been our leading returning scorer. Going to lose her to injury. It's no big secret. She's going to get out there. She had an unbelievable run at the end of last season that propelled us into the playoffs, and she will be sorely missed. Lindsay Homan continues to impress me. Coming from Venango Catholic High School, I didn't know what to expect from Lindsay. She battles every day. She makes her teammates better. Sierra Fordham, I'm waiting for her to arrive. She's the Pittsburgh City League MVP. She wants to get on that floor. She works her butt off during practice, and she has skills, and we've seen flashes. That's just the core coming back, which is it's a good problem to have, that many players who are looking for playing time that can play in this league.
And just looking at some of the new faces you and your staff has brought on campus, very talented. Just talk about some of the newcomers.
So I don't know. I mean, there's always room to say, yeah, we could have brought in a better recruiting class. We could have brought in 2 kids at UConn wanted, and 2 kids were wanted by South Carolina. But 3 Division I transfers and a center who turned down Division I schools. We had a pretty good recruiting class, plain and simple. We'll start with the freshman, Morgan Henderson. Morgan is an absolute beast. She's going to be a beast in this league. She came here in tremendous shape. Didn't know how she transitioned to the college game, to the preseason grind, but she has been a pleasant surprise. She's going to be ready to go November 13th against Virginia State. She pushes Soraya right now. That girl, she can run the floor. She's very athletic. She's in tremendous shape, and we're very pleased that she turned down the Division I offer she had to join us. She's going to be our first signature recruit that could have went to a low major and chose us instead. 3 Division I transfers. Let's start with Crystal Pietropola. She played in 22 games last year at Youngstown State as a true freshman. The only way you get to do that as a true freshman means you're a player. Coming out of Plum High School a couple years ago, one of the best players in Western Pennsylvania. She's long. When I say get to the rim, I mean touch the rim. She can shoot the ball. She's a great player to be around. She's a great kid to be around. Going to make an immediate impact. Sierra Patterson played in 28 games last year as a true freshman at Wright State. I'll say it again. You only get to play in 28 games in the Horizon League as a true freshman if you were a baller. Sierra Patterson can flat out play. The thing that Sierra, that I like most about her, is she's got an edge to her. When she takes that floor, she's got that look, that game face that Bobby Knight made fun of. She has that look on her face when she takes the floor, and she has that edge for us that we needed in one of our transfers. And Alexis Carpenter, she's first team All-State in Virginia, coming out of Forest Park High School in Alexandria. Originally signed and played at Dayton as a true freshman. Unbelievably talented, and she is a great floor leader. She's a true point guard. She's a floor general. She has the ability, the work ethic, the work ethic, and the athleticism to contend for PSAC Player of the Year honors. Just plain and simple, she's that good. So we are incredibly excited about the newcomers.
And just finally, what do you think Slippery Rock needs to do to get where you think they can be this season?
Well, Tyler, it's no secret. Last year we talked about it, we hung our hat on it. We want to guard the basketball. Defense is our number one priority. Last year, defense and rebounding, we shaved, I believe, about 5 points off our points allowed per game. We had our highest rebound margin in 25 years since the 99-2000 season. But at the end of the day, we still finished regular season 11-15. There's a ton of room for improvement on the glass, and there's a ton of room for improvement on defense. I talk about in the locker room, if you can't guard, you can't play for us. That's the way you're going to get on the floor, is guarding people. So we will continue to guard the basketball. This year we're going to extend it. We're going to make people play 94 feet. We have that type of depth. That's a good problem to have. But as we continue to get better defensively from November 13th on, I think we're going to be a very tough team to handle, and that's not coach speak. When we start talking about contending for a PSAC title, we have those pieces in place this year, as long as it's one of those things where everybody's doing their part to help us win every night, no matter what it is. I think we can challenge for a PSAC title this year if we commit to defense.